Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sustainapreneur Podcast, episode 19, where we talk about how having a sustainable impact doesn't have to come from starting your own business. It can come from the comfort of a stable job. We're going to make sustainability much easier to do in this one, so stick around. Welcome back to another episode of Sustainapreneur Podcast, where we are bridging the gap between business and sustainability. We want to educate and motivate sustainapreneurs by discussing important topics, debating different perspectives, and by showcasing those of you out there who are doing it right now. I'm your host, Nate Hansen, and we're glad to have you with us. So let's get started. Okay, it's already hard enough to say sustainapreneur, but now I'm swinging around to say sustain-intrapreneur. And that's just ridiculous. So I'm just going to stick with calling it intrapreneur, and I'll just let you assume that I'm talking about somebody who's sustainably minded. But to go on, being an intrapreneur can have a lot more impact than ever being a sustainapreneur could be. And simply because turning an already established organization into a sustainable one can happen a lot quicker as long as everyone's on board. And that's a big if. That's also why our parent company, Re-Industries Consulting, does what they do. They go in and make it as easy as possible for companies to implement a sustainable business model. And they do that by first stating the business case for sustainability. Because the hardest thing to explain to the majority of organizations out there is that sustainability makes great business sense. But it doesn't have to be us doing it. It can just as easily be a sustainably minded employee of a large company or organization who shows their supervisors why sustainability makes sense. And at that point, you've become a sustainable entrepreneur and a change maker. And if you get enough of your coworkers to show interest in it with you, you can completely change your company from the inside out. Nothing happens quicker and more effectively than internally. I once had an opportunity to work for Walmart as a sustainability professional. Now, I wasn't a certain hire, but they were looking for someone to work at the corporate office, and their sole purpose was to work on making Walmart fit a more sustainable business model. I had a hard time passing up on that one, but I already had a few things going on. Because minute for minute, dollar for dollar, if I were to go into Walmart and change one little thing, one little part of the process in their organization, maybe make them switch LED lights from CFLs, it would probably reduce their energy waste footprint by enough energy to power a small country for decades. Now that's pretty powerful. So Sustainapreneur Podcast typically focuses on entrepreneurs and business owners, but I don't want anyone to exclude the possibilities of having more impact from the comfort of their career that they already have. Starting a business and making it successful is hard as it is. Throw in a dedicated, sustainable business model, and it can get complicated rather quickly. It's becoming easier as sustainability picks up momentum in the business world, but it's still very much the ground floor. In another 20 years, sustainability will probably just be another department in every Fortune 500 company. And I'd even go so far as to say that it'll probably be required by law in some form or fashion. But there's a lot of ground to cover now, and a lot of it can be done from already huge conglomerates. Speaking of Fortune 500 companies, if every one of their employees were to show their concern for implementing sustainable business practices, and better yet, show them that sustainability is a top priority, it would have greater impact than any government stimulus, fine, or law ever could. But now, how do you go about doing that? Talking about sustainability in some organizations is like bringing up the boss's drunken tabletop dancing at last year's Christmas party. And many times it's only because so many executives are unmoved by the impending threat of the competitive advantage that being sustainable has. They see it more as being something that's going to cost a lot of money and have absolutely no return. So show them the numbers. There are plenty of statistics now that show where the market is headed, and we need to let them know about it. It's not their fault. They just don't know. We have to show them. So the best thing that you can do in any organization is be straightforward about what you're doing. Always take the perspective of profit, because that's business, and go in explaining how it's good for profit to care about people on the planet. Then let them know that you would like to talk to other employees about, around the company, about what their opinions are. So if they won't let you, then it's time to find another job, because those people suck. But if they do, and generally they will, plan a meeting, create a questionnaire, find out what the opinion is across the board. Analyze the data, and if there's enough interest in it, bring it up to your superiors, bring it up to higher, and see if they want you to proceed on this. And who knows? The passion that you express may just open up new opportunities with your obvious interest in the welfare of the company and the initiative you took to pursue it. Either way, sustainability doesn't have to come from bootstrapping your own startup. It can be done from 9 to 5 while maintaining the security of a stable job. That concludes our episode for today. As always, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, rate, and subscribe. And we'll see you all again next time on Sustainapreneur Podcast, where we are bridging the gap between business and sustainability.